Gotta drill out the reservoir. I talk about this a lot in my videos, but this is the water reservoir. As water fills the bog, it separates from the peat and fills this container up. So, biggest tip I have, I always like to do one as close to the bottom as I can so that I can allow the bog to lose as much water as possible. It'll still pull water out right when it's almost empty so that it feeds the bog going up. Last one. So you'll notice real quick that I don't over-engineer my bogs. This is about as far as the engineering goes. This thing right here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 7, 1, 2, 3 in the front, 10, 11. I think 11 of these bogs built just like this. And this is my favorite design by far. The water management is better. You don't have to dump as much water in them. I don't do the false bottom. I've got one, no, I've got three over there with false bottoms, and they perform by far the worst, especially in comparison to the 11. Well, it's actually more than 11 because I built another hanging bog for some B52 fly traps, and I built two more bogs. Like it's like 14. I knew I was missing a few. I've got a couple bogs in the front that I need to bring around back that have new plants in them that are all built exactly just like these are going to be built. And like I said, it's by far my absolute favorite method. It's in the trunk. You gotta look for it. I'm not looking for it right now. So one thing I'm gonna do is level this out. I bought some leveling sand because it's a little uneven right there from some other projects I was doing. I'm not entirely sure that the bog being leveled is super important, but I just don't want it sitting crooked. So this makes it a little more even. I can look at it and tell if something needs to be added back here. Like I said, I'm not going crazy with making sure it's level. Just want it better than what it was. Sitting up. It's level that way. This way, it can go down some. So usually what I do is just dig into the sand a little bit. Yep. And now it's perfect. Yep. That's it. All right, I'm gonna get you a little closer because this is where the fun begins. It's like I feel like that's close, but I don't feel like it's close, and I feel like y'all deserve more. It's the true behind the scenes right here. How the magic happens. We're gonna get down and dirty. Yeah. Push that out some. Yeah. Oh yeah. Now we cooking with hot grease. You gotta be patient with me while I get this tripod situated. Make sure it ain't moving around while I'm putting work in. All right. That should be it. As many times as I try to remind myself not to do this, I forget every time. You know what I forget? To drill the drain hole. every single time. So let's take that back out. So I'm just using this 3/4 inch. All right, so here's a bit of advice that I learned from building bogs over the past 2 years. I stopped drilling drain holes all around the bog. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because depending on how you water the bog, the drain holes can not allow parts of the bog. Basically what I'm trying to say is it'll cause uneven watering, depending on where you drain it, how you fill it. So what I started doing with my bogs is I put one drain hole because water chooses the path of least resistance. So with that being said, the water's gonna fill up on one side of the bog and then push its way out of that single drain hole. Oops. That's it. Now I got all this plastic debris in here, and I gotta waste my good water that's in there. That's good water in there. I mean, the plastic ain't theoretically ain't hurting nothing. But I'm gonna pour it out. Oh, I'm gonna take it over here and pour it out. Right when we had it perfectly level, let me see if I can just stick it in the same spot it was in. So that hole is probably 3 inches under the top rim. Oh, yeah, there you go. No drama. That's what I'm talking about. So I mean, I can use this to measure. That hole is right at 3 inches. I do with them a little lower. Some people say 1 to 2 inches. I do them at 3, especially on these, because you're gonna have a lot of settling. When peat settles, there's no way around it. So, I mean, that's why you'll see in a couple minutes that I pack this thing all the way to the top, even heaping over the top rim of the bog. I'm not a big fan of the bogs being like super recessed down into the bog, like the peat. I'm not a fan of it being way down in there. So I pack it up super high when I build them because I know it's gonna settle. So then it'll go down maybe an inch under the surface, and that's about it. So we got the drain hole. I'm gonna stay on the topic of the drain hole. So we got the drain hole. Typically when I fill these bogs, I fill them on the opposite end of the drain hole. So what I do, I have usable tap water. I know I'm blessed. I feel sorry for y'all that's got that super high TDS tap water, but I don't. So I use it. I take the water hose and I put it back here and put it on a super slow trickle. So a bog this size, it may take an hour for me to water it. And I don't have a problem with that. I sit the water hose back here and I put it on a really low trickle and I let it just slowly fill, because what it does is it saturates better when you do it that way. And then also you get a good oxygen exchange, pulling oxygen down into the depths of the bog. And then when the bog is full, as the water level rises, it'll go out of this drain hole. And what I do is I just take a piece of window screen, probably about that big, and just sit it in front of it and pack peat against it. And the peat will hold the screen in. You don't have to glue it or anything like that. Like I said, I don't over-engineer any of this. I'm gonna throw some gloves on. So what I'm gonna do now, next step is I'm gonna fill everything up to cover this pot with pure peat, 100% peat. I don't put any mix in this part right here. The reason being is I don't want perlite and sand separating from the peat and going inside of this thing. So I go 100% peat on this. And the funny thing is I think I might need a little more meat, a little more peat. I'm gonna have to mix them in. Like I said, just filling it in with peat. Now I got this whiskey barrel bog from Tractor Supply on sale for little to no money. I bought 6 of these things for $25. I couldn't believe it myself. For whatever reason, Tractor Supply had them on clearance for like a little over, like right under $4 or something like that a piece for $4.10. So of course, I bought 6 of them with no intentions on building a bog right now. Then I came across a smoking hot deal on some plants that inspired me to build bogs. Because I felt like some of the plants that I got deserve some big shoes to fill. And they'll live in these bogs for a while. I've got a couple over there that's about 2 years old, going on its 3rd season. It's filled in great. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm gonna need some more peat. Thought I had enough. That's all good. We'll just mix some up. So I bought a cement mixer. But this is a whiskey barrel bog from Tractor Supply. And the reservoir is a 4-gallon nursery pot from Lowe's. In case anybody was thinking about mimicking this setup. So then I come in, I pack it in. Pack it in. Try to pack it in good. I don't need a lot more. Maybe 1 or 2 loads in the mixer should take care of it. But the 4-gallon nursery pot from Lowe's fits this thing almost like they were made to go together. It's not even funny how good they mesh up together. I leave this peat pre-moistened outside so I don't have to wet it when I get ready to use it. right, y'all can come with me. We'll mix up some mix real quick. Take my y'all sitting on my broke tripod. This thing is rat beat. Run this up real quick. Do yourself a favor and do not breathe in the peat dust. Don't do it and get you sick. That's it. Black gold. Keep it going. be back to the mixer in a couple minutes. I think that should take care of it. So we're gonna go back over here. There we go. It might be just enough to get the job done. But I'm definitely gonna need more mix. And I like to smack that against the top like that because it stops it from going down in the holes. And then I just come through and spread it packed. The more packed it is, the less you have to worry about it going down into the holes on the top of the reservoir. And it's okay if some of these bits aren't as saturated. They a lot of saturation is about to go on over the next couple of years. And then that's pretty much good. Just gotta fill in on that side over there. Like I said, I like to go until it's flat. So let's see how we look. We're almost there. Let me see. This is kind of thick on top. Yeah. That's pretty much it right there. So, man, it's not as, like I said, I don't over-engineer. I despise how PVC looks sticking out of a bog. No offense to anybody. So, I know it's a little easier to water the bog with the PVC, but I also like to top water mine anyway. I think that's why I see so much success out of my bogs, because I do faithfully top water them. I know you can't see it right now, but the daddy-daughter bog is sitting right beside this one with a whole top layer full of sphagnum moss, Sarracenia. Everybody looks great in this bog. Because what a lot of people don't realize is when you build these bogs, they are supposed to be set it and forget it. If you're a person that like to tinker around with your plants all the time and move stuff around and up pot and bare root them and just mess with stuff, don't build these. If you're somebody that likes to set something up and then that's it, like building a pool in your backyard. You're not gonna build a pool and get that beautiful $100,000 pool built and then drain it and add concrete over here and then do this and do that. No, you just set it and leave it alone. And that's what these are for. So that's it. That's phase one complete. Now all we do is add the potting mix on top of that and the screen for the drainage. Don't forget the screen. I forget the screen every time. Lucky me, I already had some screen cut. That's a little big. I'm gonna chop that down a little bit. But that's all we're looking for. I was about to say, I know I had some scissors over here somewhere. So I'm gonna just chop this down, maybe in half. Yeah, that's big enough. Something like that. Boom. Easy money. So like I said, I'm gonna just sit that up against the hole and then pack peat against it, and that'll hold it for life. Like I said, some of these bogs are a year old, some of them 2 years old. No issues with the strength. come with the mix. This is 4 parts peat moss, 1 part sand, part perlite. So it gives us a 2-part peat, 2-to-1 ratio, 2 parts peat and 1 part drainage, or whatever we want to call it. What's the term for the peat and the perlite and sand, and don't they call that drainage? Whatever they call it, that's what it is, 2-to-1. So the screen is there for life now. Done. The screen is finished. That's it. And don't worry, because just because the plants are gonna root into pure peat, it's perfectly fine. I'd like to shout out Mike Wayne to use as an example. Most of us, if you're in the hobby, have heard his name before and seen his plants and saw how beautiful they are, and have even purchased a couple from him, which one of which are going into one of these bogs, a North Carolina flower that he sent me. He plants all of his plants in 100% peat. And he lives in California. So yeah, it's not necessarily about what you plant them in. I found that the way you water them is really the real important part. Which is, I'm gonna talk about that while I'm doing this, because people ask me all the time, well, do you have any drainage on this bog? How do you water it? Do you have drainage? How do you water it? Do you have drainage? Like, there's the top 2 questions I get every single time I post a bog. Do you have drainage? How do you water? Do you have drainage? How do you water? No, I don't have drainage outside of that 3/4 inch hole on the front. And like I said before, I water it by dragging a water hose to it and putting it on the trickle because I can with my tap water. Now, if you have to use water from a different outlet or something like that, then the PVC situation might be better for you. I'm just not interested. But when it comes to watering, these bogs need to be watered a lot less than your potted plants. So no, I don't dump water in these every couple days. I go weeks without watering these. I tell people all the time, I run these bogs on a little bit of the drier side. People, that doesn't mean they dry out. Don't misconstrue what I'm saying. I run these a little drier, meaning I let the top maybe 4 or 5 inches dry out before I rewater the plants. The reason being, I'm gonna show you in a second when I pull one of these plants out of the bag. I'm gonna explain exactly what I'm talking about. I'm gonna put a bookmark in that conversation, and I'm gonna come back to it. So yeah, man, that was almost perfect, but I do need a little more mix because, like I told you, it's sitting about 1 inch under the rim, and I'm not okay with that at all. I like that thing heaping. I feel like it makes the plants a little better too. Stick them up on a hill, gives the bog some texture. So we're gonna get some mix together real quick. Moving y'all right back to the mixer. Just a second. We're gonna get on that watering topic in just a second. Let me mix this up. I wanna show y'all something. Show y'all some stuff, then we're gonna use some logic. This is a huge bale of pea. I'm not carrying it. We're gonna work smart, not hard today. I had black gold before, and now I got a big bale of goes. Of course, this heat is dry. You have to saturate the peat before you use it with your plants because peat is very hydrophobic and it will actually steal the water from your plants. I almost killed some plants being ignorant doing that. All right, so again, 4 parts peat, 1 part perlite, 1 part sand. So let me get that 1 part perlite out the way. Boom, done. Don't breathe that in. One part sand. There's a store called AgriSupply. That is coarse sand from AgriSupply. It's about $15, $16 for 100 pounds of sand. So if you have an AgriSupply near you, stop buying sand from Lowe's or Home Depot and go check in with them and get some of this beautiful sand. This stuff is out off the chain. I love it. But yeah, don't breathe the perlite dust, man. 4 parts peat. What that means is equal parts. That's 1. 2. Don't breathe that in either. 3. 4. And the funny thing is, the Premier is actually a little less clumpy than a black gold was. Sun's actually coming out. Sometimes you'll get a couple ingredients like that. Those two cups of perlite that just don't mix all the way in is perfectly fine. It is a lot better than sitting here with your hands, with your bare hands, stirring this stuff, which takes hours. I mean, you see how quick I'm making these mixes? This used to take up all the time when it came to me building the bar. Mixing. Just non-stop mixing. This is 4. I think. If it's off a little bit, oh well. It'll be fine. Don't breathe that stuff in. Uh-oh. should get them there. I think. Hey man, shout out to the game. I appreciate whoever tapped in on it. I appreciate it. 2. 3. 4. So according to that last batch, don't add the perlite first in the sand. Do those last. It seems like it mixes better with them on top than on the bottom. All right, I'm taking y'all back now. I don't think I'm gonna have to bring y'all back. This should be it. Uh-oh. All right, let me get moving. Make sure y'all can see the whole bog. All right, let's see if we got enough this time. It's a little heavy. It's got a little extra water in it. So me having to mix it up. Boom. We should be good to go. And you'll notice it's a little, you may be able to notice on camera, but this is a little bit darker than what was in there because this is a lot more wet than what was in the first batch. The other batch I made like a week ago when I was doing some other projects. But yeah, this should be enough. remember, I told you, I stack them high because peat settles. It settles like a mug. So if you put this thing at the same level as the rim, man, it may end up 2 or 3 inches below the rim after it's all said and done. So I stack them up high. Because I don't like how that looks. People say, what happens when it rains? Nothing. Wanna know why? Because I don't think keep them full of water at all. And when it does rain, and if it gets full of water, got a drain hole. But I've got a ceramic pot over there that's built the exact same way. I did the ceramic pot the same way, but of course with ceramic ain't no drain hole. So that one has sphagnum as a top dressing, which this one will too. But I've never had water run over the side of it, of any of these bogs when it rains. And if it does, oh well. It's not the end of the world. But I've never had it happen. The only time I've ever had that happen is if I got the water hose set up too high when I'm watering it. But that's rare too, because like I said, I put it on a trickle. It like drips out the thing. It may take me like 4 or 5 hours to water all these bogs. But that's it. I know it's gonna make somebody puke out there. Got a couple of y'all that always say, just fill it to the top, don't go over. And I just be like, okay, bro. You just don't go over on your bogs. On mine, they going over. Look at this extremely under-engineered bog. So let's talk about drainage. I get asked that question a lot. How do you flush it? You wanna know the answer? When it rains. It's got a drain hole. When it rains, water fills and flushes it. How do I flush it? With the water hose. If I ever feel like it needs to be flushed, like if I smell anything, which has never happened, by the way. But if I ever feel like it does, all I gotta do is sit a water hose right here, put it on the trickle. It's gonna fill it up, and then the water's gonna run out. But I'll tell you a secret. If you don't water it excessively, you don't run into those issues. All right, so here's the fun part. We're putting, oh dang, I brought this plant out here for nothing. It's not going in here. But we got the Trey Hill Holy Trinity pack. This is SARS, Super Heavy Veins, and Vintner's Treasure, all bred by Phil Felici. And I got these from the homie Trey down in Florida. He sent me some nice divisions of all 3 of these plants that should be super happy in this bog. If you haven't seen his plants, go follow his IG. His plants are absolutely insane. Insane. He sent these to me, I think, a week ago or so. Well, they got here right before right when that crazy cold snap was happening. So what I did was I left them damp, and I just chucked them in the refrigerator because I knew I wasn't ready to build the bog. So I think I'm gonna do one right here, one right there, and one right here, pointing out on the Y like this. And that'll give this one all of that space to grow. This one will have all of that, and this one will have all of that. Because Sarracenia don't just grow in a straight line. They like to just zigzag all over the place. But which one I want to put in the front, I don't know. I'm going to put SARS there. I'm going to put SARS right there, and then it's whatever with the other 2. So let's talk about, that's what I was waiting on. This part right here was what I was waiting on to talk about the whole water situation. So I'm gonna address something that people may consider unpopular opinion, controversial, whatever you want to consider. All right, You gotta move. You in the way. All right. So let me make sure. Now Trey packed the hell out of these. So let me figure out how to get through the paper towel real quick before I start talking. Like I was looking, there it is. I was looking at this the other day when I was planting one of the other ones because he sent me 2 divisions of super heavy veins, if I remember correctly. And I potted that one up, and it's indoors right now. I'm waking it up from dormancy early because I'm impatient. But yeah, all right. So I want to show you something. Look at this thing right here. This is what you get when you water these plants properly. When they don't just sit in water, high water tables up to the rim of the pot. Look at this. So this is what I was gonna say about watering. As long as you get water, look at the roots on this thing. I can't even get the whole thing in the window. Look, I'll do it like that. Look how long the roots are. So when it comes to watering, this is what needs to water. The roots. The roots need the water. Not the crown. The crown doesn't need to sit in water. And you see a lot of people, oh, you know, high water tables, my plants sit in water indefinitely. Your plants do not have to sit in water indefinitely. You can grow them like that. But I won't call any names. But I have gotten plants from the big nurseries that have roots this long because the plant sits in water. And I understand it because a big nursery, they ain't got time to really, really pamper their plants. They're making divisions, they potting them up, they're keeping it rolling so that they can sell them and make money. I get it. But this is, you can tell as a grower, you can tell what type of time Trey is on with this. Look at the roots on this thing. This thing is absolutely ridiculous. So low water levels are okay. Boom. This is what I was going back to when I talk about how I water this bog. Well, how I'm gonna water this bog just like the other ones. The water level's gonna stay super low. As long as there's moisture for the roots halfway down through this bog, this thing is gonna be fine. The plant is gonna be A-okay. The water doesn't have to, I don't have to fill this thing up and have water sitting at the top and be able to feel how damp this is and things like that to know there's water. That's why I stick my finger down, 3 or 4 inches to see if the water looks right. My boy Joe, he told me to use a chopstick, stick it in there. If it comes back clean, it's probably time to water it. I'm gonna use that method this year. But I just wanted to talk about that. The theory behind watering is this. Are your plants watered? If the answer is yes, fine. How you water them does not matter. But some methods are better than others are. That's just what I'll say about it. So some people, you'll say, hey, you don't have to sit them in water. Well, I do this and I do it's fine. It's cool. However you decide to water them, it's perfectly fine. But I'm here to tell you, every single super experienced grower that I have talked to, the Fred Pease, my boy No Fly Zone, I've talked to Mike Wayne, I've talked to a couple of other guys. None of them leave their plants sitting in water indefinitely. And they have some of the best collections I've ever seen. That's all I'm saying. I like to mimic greatness. And those guys, in my opinion, personify greatness when it comes to how their plants look. I've never gotten a plant that, I'll get their plants busting out of the pots, roots all over the place, root-bound plants, but that just comes from good watering. I know for a fact, I talk to Fred all the time about this. I talk to No Fly Zone, plenty of times about this. They don't sit their plants in water for extended periods of time. At the most, this is like an inch. And we're talking huge pots. Some of their plants are in 3 and 4 gallon pots. But I think, to this, I think that's about where SARS is gonna go. That gives them a solid, that's probably 6 inches of straightforward. I'm gonna push that back just a little bit. I want to give them a lot of room. These things they like that. So I'm just keeping the right zone right. And I'm just pushing the dirt down in there. But it's, don't pack it. Just boom. Make sure he's in there snug. Good to go. Don't forget your plant tag. Boom. The next one, this one is Vintner's Treasure. That's such an interesting name. Vintner's Treasure. This one's gonna be nasty right off the bat. It's got two decent sized growth points on it right off the bat. So we should see nice pictures on it this year. I think he took these divisions right before he sent them. So if we don't see any really good divisions off of them this year, that'll probably be, pictures. That'll be why. A lot of times they might pout a little bit after you divide them. Right. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Right. See, this one will have even more room to grow because it doesn't have as much back rhizome as SARS did. Make some room for that root system. Put that thing down in there. Sitting about right there. And see, I know for aesthetic purposes, one of them's gonna be facing over there, but it doesn't even really matter because this bog will get 12 to 13 hours of full sun in the middle of the summer. This spot right here that's why I picked these plants in this spot, because they're gonna get all the sun that they want. I mean, and Trey lives down in Florida, so they're no strangers to sun and heat. So they're gonna get all they've been asking for. They ain't gonna skip a beat coming up here to North Carolina. They may just get some colder winters that they may or may not like. But yeah. And this one, last but not least, is super heavy veins, but same story. Look at the roots on these things. I love seeing that when I get a division of a plant. I love seeing those big, massive root systems. Somebody tell you roots don't matter. No, roots tell you a big story about how a plant was cared for. If you get a plant with scraggly roots on it, it's either a super fresh division that didn't have a lot of roots, which you need to be careful of anyway, or it was kept in way too much water. And I would debate anybody, any time of the day, about the fact that yes, you can keep these plants in too much water. It is definitely very much possible. I'm gonna just put that back in there. I'm not even gonna pack that in, I'm just gonna smooth it out. There they are. It's almost spring. We shouldn't get any more cold snaps, but if we do, I'll just toss some frost cloth over it. But man, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna add some sprigs of live sphagnum to the bog, and then that's it. So yeah. So let's hope that this this sphagnum moss is sun loving, because it's gonna get a lot of it. So what I do is I just stick it in there in clumps. That has proved to work the best for me. I know some people like to just lay it on the top. Here in North Carolina, no bueno. You'll be watering the bog twice a day, trying to keep it moisturized or watered, or what you want to call it. You'll be watering it twice a day. Trust and believe. I know this because I went through that with my in-ground bog. I laid the sphagnum on top and realized that I was just over-watering the bog, which I didn't want to do, because I'm gonna do what's best for the Sarracenia first, and everybody else that's in the bog. Sorry about the noise. Somebody's driving down the street and truck making way too much noise. But so I tested out. All right, now that that's over, I tested out just putting it in there in clumps. And this is specifically in reference to these bogs, because like I said, you gotta water these differently than potted plants. Potted plants, you can just lay it on the top and it'll do what it needs to do, because the pot's sitting in water, so it's wicking up water at all times. In the bogs, it's not. So what you do is I'm creating the wicking sensation by burying the strands on the sphagnum moss. So you'll see the way sphagnum grows is you have the green on top. If I can get my hand to, you got the green on top, and then you got the dead portion on the bottom. So I bury that in the peat, and it sucks the water up to keep this watered properly. So that's why you'll see I'm burying it in clumps with just the green head sticking up. And I'll show you in a second how the results look when you do it that way. Of course, the bigger the clumps, the faster it spreads. But the sphagnum that I have right here, shout out to my boy Robert, sending it to me. The way that this is growing, these are little smaller heads. Like I had some I had to clip the bottoms of them. They were so long. But this sphagnum grows a little bit different. It's different species of sphagnum. So all of it doesn't grow the same. All of it doesn't grow in the same conditions. That's why I said a second ago, I hope this sphagnum likes sun, because this is gonna get plenty of it. But I have some that does love sun, that I have no problem with throwing a couple sprigs of it in here. And I know it'll do absolutely great, because I have it in the other bog and it's lifting the plant out of the pot. You're super happy. And I'm super happy with it. because I love how it looks. The plant is just sitting on a hummock of sphagnum. I'm gonna go around the front because I feel like I'm putting all of them over here. But within the season, this will just start to take over, especially with spring coming. Sphagnum does great in the spring and fall. Summer, depending on the species, it'll slow down a little bit. That Sphagnum tenarum did not slow down at all during the summer last year. It actually grew faster during the summer. It went nuts. But I love this stuff. I just love how natural it looks. As a matter of fact, if I'm being honest, seeing pictures of Trey's plants, the person I got these from, inspired me to put live sphagnum in my pots, because his pots look absolutely ridiculous. Like, all you see is pictures and sphagnum, different colors, reds, greens. Like his stuff looks ridiculous. And I was like, man, if he's growing sphagnum like that down in Florida, I know I could do what I need to do in North Carolina. I just needed to learn how, because all the videos I kept watching were saying to just lay it on top. So that's what I kept doing. And it was just dying because I couldn't keep up watering it. Like, I would water it in the morning, come home from work, it'll be dried out and brown. Water it again, it'll green back up. That's what it does. When a drought happens, the sphagnum turns brown. But it's not dead. If you water it, it greens right back up. 30 minutes later, it's nice and green again. It does that when it rains all the time. If I go, if it rains on the back side of on the back half of my watering cycle, and the sphagnum is starting to get parched, I'll come back out, it'll be nice and lush. But contrary to popular belief, if you do it like this with the clumps, you don't have to keep your plants as wet. I see a lot of people will say stuff like, I don't like to put sphagnum in there because I don't like to keep my plants that wet. Or it's too much water around the crowns. Trust me. It's no more water than you already put in the pot. And I have some that I planted with sphagnum around the growth points on purpose. No issue. It's just all in how you water your plants. I'm gonna stick this whole clump in here, just like that. And that's what I do. I just take it and push it down in there, and eventually this stuff will start growing. I'll show you an example on the daddy-daughter blog in a second of how the sphagnum. You can go back to that video. It's in my how-to playlist. But you can go back to that video and see, we just put 3 clumps of sphagnum in there, and they went crazy over the season. I'm gonna stick that one in there, right there. That's a good clump. Keep it together. If you can keep those clumps together, they seem to grow faster when you put them in clumps like that. But yeah, that's about all I'm gonna do today. All right, that's pretty much the ball. That's it. What I call a holy trinity. Sphagnum moss. Citacina, it's a dormant fly trap. That's a Walmart typical. That's a Walmart typical. That's a Walmart typical. This was one plant. I took that plant and divided it twice and got those 2 out of it. That's Crimson Sawtooth. And I took a division off of that plant, and that's another one right there. But yeah, see that the sphagnum is doing this thing. And see, look, a lot of people, well, it overcrowds the crowns and it da 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 da. All I do is this. See that? I just reach in there like that, pull it out. Boom. No worries. And you can look and tell that plant is perfectly healthy. And then in a bare spot, just add it back. There's a bare spot in here because that's where those sundews came out. There was one right there, there's one right there, one back there, there was another one back there, there was one right beside that plant too, if I remember correctly. But yeah, see, I'm gonna pull some more off of that one. But I did the same thing in this bog. A bunch of dormant fly traps. That's a red piranha. That's a dormant flava seedling. That's one of his siblings right there. No ID. Alata var negro purpurea. But yeah, bug bat with some frost damage. But these are old pictures anyway. But see, these bogs, these two are all built just like that one was built. These four right here are built the old way with like 2 inches of perlite at the bottom. Man, I hate that build. It just they don't seem to work as good for me, in my opinion. But this one I feel like needs to be broken up a little bit too. That's 4 Sarracenia, and they're basically growing on top of each other at this point. Just huge growth points and rhizomes. Look at this thing. That's all one plant. Everything you're looking at right here is one plant. It's got one growing right up against the side. That's a lunchbox. Same deal. It's got 3 growth points on it. I'm building another bog right there. But yeah, that's the deal. That's the little hanging Venus flytrap pot I post all the time. Those fly traps are not junk. But that's it right there. I put another clump of sphagnum in the middle of that one. That's a Capensis. This Capensis has lived in this bog for 2 years now. And it freezes solid. There's the bog garden. You can see. I guess I got too far away from the Wi-Fi router. But yeah, it's almost time to come through and do another trim. Some of these, last bit of cold took the last couple of leaves out on some of these. That's a red rocket right there. Look how big that thing. It's almost big as my finger. My finger went. Look at all of them. See, I want this thing to have a complete sphagnum ground cover. That's the goal. That's Adrian Slack right there. I got a video from when I planted it. This is a flava from Bullock County, Georgia, Rugelii. This one was swallowed by sundews last year, so this thing went into full growth point production. They put these 2 out. That's the main. So we're expecting some big things out of that joker this year, because it won't be covered up and swallowed up by sundews. Hurricane Creek White right here, Clone E. Looks like it's about to get bulldozed by this other Leuco that I got from Jared. But yeah. Sphagnum looks absolutely incredible in this bog. And everybody's favorite Citacina. Do it, Preston. Do it! But yeah, I got sphagnum in almost all these pots. Paul, I don't know if you're watching, but I'll send you a picture. That's Pender County, Pennsylvania. That's a perk from Pender County. I even put some sphagnum right there, just a little clump, and it's doing its job spreading. This one's top dressed with pine straw. But you can see these aren't even sitting in water. I drained it. Those are some of the sundews I took out of the bog. That's where they'll live. I'll clip the flowers. Some King Henry. Venus flytraps. Which plant is my favorite? I don't have one. Well, I do. I had a flava. It was the first. It was the first plant that I named myself. I call it hot rod, and it got rot. So it's indoors recovering right now. But it looks like it's gonna make a full recovery. I got 5 growth points off of it right now inside growing. I'm putting them back outside when it's spring. These are B52s, and these B52s are super unhappy because, like a genius, I divided them. This was 2 plants that I got from Carnivorous Plant Nursery in 2023. I divided it down into 12, and the week after we hit like the teens. So these B52s are not happy. That's another pot of King Henry. See, I put sphagnum in that pot. This sphagnum looks great though. Sphagnum. You say it enough times, you start messing it up. But this looks absolutely gorgeous. Some of these still need to be divided, like this one. This is a big, like Moriah or something. I got beef and broccoli from Fred P. His name is Drop Zone 101 on Instagram. But this is an Oreo bog. I think I'm going to take these out of this big pot and put them in smaller pots. Hey, Preston, he doesn't call it beef and broccoli though. I named it that. So I would have to give you his cross notes so you can reach out to him and ask him if he has a division of it. But speaking of, that's this right here. That's this guy. I have his he has his own code. I have my own code. So I put my code on this tag, but I have his code in my notes. So I can tell you, I can send you a message. If you DM me on Instagram or Facebook, because I won't remember. If you DM me on Facebook, when I get off of this, I'll shoot you his code so you can ask him if he has a division of it. If he doesn't, I'll see what I can do. I was gonna divide this thing and then I got scared and left it alone, but that's it right there. I literally just repotted this thing a couple days ago and gave it a lot more height, you know, gave it some more space to root. It was root bound in the pot that it was in. But yeah, man, those are all the monsters. I still got some repotting to do. That's a flava of some sort. Like a lot of these, I have no clue what they are. This is a minor Oki. Still holding on strong. This one's full of bugs from late season. That one is too, up until about right there. That's some Sundews, Martians, Dragon. I got you, Preston. I saw your message. So this is another plant that I got from Fred. I didn't make any videos of it last year, but this will get a lot of screen time this year. This is one of my favorite plants that I got from him. He named it Crimson Tide. He does have a picture of it on his page, but this plant is absolutely beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's almost got what I would call a weird color for Sarracenia. It's like, it's almost like it turns purple. It's like a really, really, really dark red. And then the inside of the pictures is tan, which is nuts. I thought that was crazy when I saw that thing. But that's Aries, one of Jerry Addington's plants. Got that one from my homie Mike. That's a perp I got from Rob. There's a bunch of Sarracenia seedlings that need to be repotted like yesterday. So this thing is dry, but they're fine. It's winter time. They're not in active growth. They don't need a bunch of water. So this is Royal Ruby. I got this one from Rob, and he sent me that sphagnum moss with the plant, and I just planted it with it, and you see it's spreading. We got some good stuff cooking over here, though. I had what I was describing as rot problems, but when I started dividing plants, none of them had rot. Like I thought beef and broccoli had rot. I thought half of this tray had rot, and when I started uprooting stuff, everything looked perfectly fine. So I guess it was a false alarm. It's like 2 of them up there that do have it, but the ones that I was most concerned about, it was false alarms. So the homie Paul sent me some purpurea seeds. That's what these are. So this is 100% peat with a top dressing of shredded or milled sphagnum moss, the dead stuff from Lowe's. And I sprinkled the seeds on top. You can see a couple of them through the screen. And then I just pour water in the peat from there to water them in. These are trays of sphagnum that are pretty much dead. I lost most of my trays when I went on my honeymoon. I just didn't have anybody that could come over and water these things every single day. So I just let them go. I just haven't let them go, if that makes sense. They just still here. But the sphagnum is definitely dead. Here's more seeds. These were all open pollinated seeds from around my collection. So you can see it's got a little water on them. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. The bog was definitely a big learning curve because it's just the me building my bog motivated me to start this YouTube channel because it just wasn't any information out there. It was just so hard to find info about how to build a bog. So that motive, I was like, man, I got a camera. I'll document some of this stuff, yada, yada, yada. And it just turned into what it is now. To, me teaching people what I've learned from other people. But yeah, these couple that I got from Fred, these are a couple sphagnum cultures that I'm trying to get going. Typically when I get sphagnum, I try to take a piece, put it in some peat, and leave it alone and just let those take over. So push come to shove, if I ever need to, I can pluck from one of these pots. So this is a plant. I think I'm gonna repot this one today. It needs to be repotted ASAP. It's a Jerry plant. That one is Oreophila ornata 05 King. I don't even know what this is. Maybe Mike King, who knows? Versus Flava rubicapora, Don's red tube. So that should be a nice looking plant. I got this in the fall when it was already winding down. So, but yeah, I'm gonna take that out. I'm gonna go ahead and pull that and repot that thing. Get it out of this, get some of that moss out from around it. I got enough peat left in there from the bog build to go ahead and hook that up. Just put it in a regular pot. This is one of the flavas I got from No Fly Zone. This thing's cracking the pot. Is absolutely nuts. I couldn't tell you how many plants are, well, it's one plant. This was a seedling that he grew out, if I remember correctly. But I couldn't tell you how many divisions are on this thing. 9 times out of 10, I won't divide it. I'll just, pot it into something bigger and let it keep going. I've got one of my crosses back here, seeds. I cover the pots with screen when I do the seeds so that rain doesn't disturb them. They can get rained on. The rain helps keep them wet and water because they need cold, wet stratification. But that's pretty much, well, no. I'm always disrespectful. I never show off the bogs in the front, so I'm gonna take y'all around the front. Here goes some more projects. These are all Oreophilas that I got from Fred that I had to rehab. They had mealybugs. So I made some divisions in the middle of the season. And if you know anything about Oreophilas, they absolutely hate being disturbed mid-season. Those are the patio bogs. I'm gonna finish unwrapping those today. This is the super duper. That's a Luco, another rehab, a lotta. I'm trying to see if I can get some back rhizome strikes off of. I repotted all of this yesterday. These are seedlings. Gave them a little bit of water because the peat that I repotted them in Wasn't exactly all the way wet. We got some decent weather coming this week. But here's my front yard collection. I need to go ahead and trim this sucker. This is Leuco by Moria. So it's basically a Moria back cross to Leuco again. And this plant gives you pictures all year, all season. Let me see, I missed it. It doesn't show me the chat. Man, I don't know how to use this thing, man. But yeah, I put, man, look, big, pretty clump of sphagnum right there. This thing's got a bunch of growth points. That plant should be fire this season coming up. It was fire last season, but it's grown so much. The Rosea are not happy with all this cold weather because they are the southern perps. Down in Florida, the Gulf, all of that stuff. That's Dixie Lace. That's the same clone of the other perp, Chipola County, Florida. I think this one, they might not be clones though. They might just be like siblings or so, because I feel like this one makes better looking pictures. Like, look at this one. That thing is fire. I wonder if I'll get flowers off of any of these. These are some random seedlings that came with some moss that Rob Cole sent me. So I just plopped them down in here. This one's a nice red hybrid of some sort, but it did good. This is a big Flava Rugelia. I clipped this one up a little bit the other day. This thing's got absolute monstrous growth points. Just 3. It's not a big clumpy, it's not a big clumper, but it's got some huge growth points. I'm hoping to see 2 to 2.5 foot pictures off of this thing this year. These are the late fall. It had some that was, you know, it might have hit 2 feet last year. I never measured it. And then this is the last one. Right there. It's got a minor oak-key in there. Of course, you gotta have your live sphagnum. You got some dormant fly traps. That's a Flava. This is sold to me as Leah Wilkerson. The jury's still out on that, but I still think it's a nice looking plant, so I left it in there. And then these are all the plants that I'm gonna be putting in the back once spring really sets in. These are Alabamensis that I got from California Carnivores. These are rubras that I got from Manny Hera. This is the B52 hanging bog that I made, the unhappy B52s. They're still alive, they're just dormant and unhappy from being repotted. And then this is pretty much all the plants I got over the fall and winter. Whack-a-mole. This one's going in that other bog that I'm gonna build today, I think. I think I'm gonna build it today. But I got some flower buds coming up here. And I think it's mostly, well, these were in my garage. And my garage is a little warmer than everything else. So these started spreading. These are rehabs. We'll see. Jury's still out on a couple of those. But we'll see. But I think that's the collection. Darlingtonia. Hold on, while we at it, might as well take you inside and see what's up. Don't judge my garage. But those are the seeds I have in Strat. Some in there, some other rehab plants that I just wanted to hold until spring comes. Not showing y'all my garage. These are my Nepenthes and orchids on my old rack. I put some sphagnum down in there too. Hopefully I want to see it, take over that tray. But yeah, I just clipped these Nepenthes, so they may be pouting a little bit and increase light. There was a lot of changes that happened all at once. There's Kratos, my Haitiensis cichlid. And then here's the grow chamber. Oops. That's the indoor efforts. This is the rehab. This is the hot rod. So he's trucking along. I've been adding Max C to his pictures. That's the other division of it. Like I said, I got 5 divisions of it. They're throwing pictures up left and right now. And those are some Sarracenia that my boy Zion sent me in the back. They're throwing pictures up. These are fly trap cultivars. Absolutely, Debbie. Absolutely. The only ones that sit in water are these seedlings because they have a heat mat under them, which within the next maybe a week or so, the heat mat's getting unplugged. But those are these are last year's seedlings that I'm kind of reviving. I just repotted all of these. As soon as I repotted them, this pot started taking off. A couple of these started to look a lot better than they did before. These are all Lucos in the back. Those 3 and then those 2 right there are all Leucophylla. And then these are various crosses. But yeah, a lot of these are starting to take off now that I started fertilizing them and I repotted them. And then stuff from the other day. These are from Mike Wang and Trey. And then those are seeds that are germinating right now. Trying not to let the thing knock water all over the place. But yeah, switch hands. Some of these got some good germination going. So yeah, we got a lot of things cooking. It's just more work for me to do, but I love it. So, but that's really it this time, though. I appreciate y'all checking it out. I'll see y'all later.